Okay. So let's see here. All right, can everyone see the presentation here?
Yes.
Great. So good morning. I'm going to speak about what your tech can do for you. Imagine it's several years ago in BC times. No, not that far back, just before coronavirus. You and your spouse got great jobs in this new city, Raleigh, and you've moved into town with your 3 kids. You wanted a new church, and your partner mentions trying one that your coworker attends. Flash forward to Sunday at 8 a.m. Your kids are all awake, you got your morning coffee, and you're getting everyone fed. Your partner is helping get everyone dressed and piled into the car. By 8:45, you arrive at the church. You've been dealing with the controlled chaos you're used to, your own family. Next, you'll be presented with lots of excitement and potential for making new friends or potentially more headaches, depending on how things go. My Bible study group jokingly says, "Come for the free childcare, stay for the Jesus." So you take a deep breath and your crew enters the church. You're greeted right away by smiling faces of your partner's coworker, Tim. We're off to a good start. The church has a system for registering the children and their parents using iPad kiosks. One of the volunteers helps you get signed in. Except today, the internet connection is spotty and only one of the iPads actually works. You wait patiently in line with all the other families, but it's now 8:56 and you're getting jittery because you're about to be late. It didn't have to be this way. Let's rewind to the moment you've entered the church for the first time. Remember Tim smiling and welcoming you in? This time though, something's different. You're still guided by the volunteers to the nearest available iPad, but everything just clicks. You get into the sanctuary with 10 minutes to spare. You can enjoy the worship service and decide whether this will be your new church family. But what was the difference? The people were constant. 10 of the other volunteers welcomed you in with a smile. The difference was, this time, the tech was working, so the volunteers at the church were able to focus on welcoming you in. This is an imaginary story, but it's based on real work that I've done for my actual place of worship, Vintage Church in downtown Raleigh. My company provided a Wi-Fi assessment to fix areas where the signal was weak, strengthen the internet connection, and update the iPads. We went from having similar struggles to those in the first scenario to having tech that just works. Now, I almost never get support calls. The tech isn't what's exciting. What's most exciting is what you do with it. So I'm going to set up a few ground rules here. Starting with thanking Linda for taking the time to get to know me and to invite me to speak today. And let's establish a professional setting with curiosity and cooperation. Please respect our different levels of proficiency and keep confidential information out of the conversation. When in doubt, leave it out. If I ask and it's a relevant detail that I think is safe to share, I will ask you. And if you're just starting today, be confident, be patient, and forgiving while you learn. Please extend that respect to everyone else as well. Now, what can your tech do for you? It helps with 2 things primarily: boosting your productivity and protecting what's important. So the global pandemic has had a large impact on everyone's lives and work. You know from your own experiences that these lifestyle changes have impacted women the most. Learning how to work from home itself is a big challenge. sorting out childcare for your family while schools and daycares are closing and changing schedules. It's a big headache. You only get 24 hours each day. But what if I told you that there's a way to save time, cut costs, and improve your work that could free up hours each day? So you likely share processes similar to employee onboarding and offboarding with an engineering firm that I've served. Their operations team and I created a streamlined process that got new employees set up with all they needed for training and a workstation PC, so they were able to hit the ground running on day one. I began setting up the PCs manually for each employee, which took up to 10 work hours. Later, I installed a system that deploys a fully installed PC in less than 15 minutes. The new deployment system takes only 3% of the time that it did doing it manually. Imagine what you could do with a routine task taking only 3% of the time it used to. Even if that's one day a month that you focus on that task, you're looking at about 7 3/4 of an hour, which is nearly a full business day. What will you do with your hashtag extra day? Free open source software can save you a lot of time and money. There's a growing community of people developing and using open source software. They say it is free as in freedom. This simply means that you're free to use it how you please without forced updates, and you can configure it for your own unique process. Free open source also means free as in free lunch. This sounds too good to be true. Why would any business give away software that others make lots of money on? Linda, our leader, has also previously worked with Red Hat, a Fortune 500 industry leader based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and now a part of IBM. They develop and offer a free alternative to Windows called the Linux operating system. Red Hat pioneered the open source business model by charging for quality service while giving away their software. In 2019, Red Hat boasted nearly $3.5 billion in revenue, with nearly $500 million in profit alone. Others volunteer with online communities making free software because they believe in having great tools available to all people. Better still, many of these are developed in a way that they run the same on Windows, Mac OS, Linux, or any computing device. Quit paying your monthly subscriptions or big licensing costs for your software, and you'll save anywhere from $32 to $100 per person per month. The trials are free, just like every other day with the software, so why not give it a try? Next, we're going to take a look at a chart, and I will have this available on my website as well as after this meeting, so please contact me if you want to review this, but we'll just highlight a couple of key elements on here today. So one thing that you probably all use is your Office software. So this will be your word processor, spreadsheets, presentations, and you're probably familiar with Microsoft Office and possibly even have Office 365 accounts. Those range from anywhere from about $5 to $20 per person per month. If you switch to the free open source alternative of either LibreOffice or OpenOffice, you can get the same great software. It's slightly different, but it works really well, and you pay $0 per person per month. So that's a great savings right there. And another one that I want to highlight because I think it is pretty commonly used. It's so well used that people tend to associate its name with the use case, which if you do image editing, you probably call that photoshopping something, because it's so ubiquitous. And some good free open source alternatives to that are the GNU image manipulation program, or Krita. And again, so the Adobe licenses, I don't, I can help you manage your third-party licenses. I don't price those, but last I checked, it was about 21 per seat per month. So pretty good savings there. So I potentially just help you save anywhere from $32 to $100 per person per month in your organization. You're welcome. So again, I'll have this posted on my website, and at the end of the presentation, I'll have a link that you can jot down and use for following up if you have any other things there. So moving on, we can improve our workflow. We all use tech tools, but many of us aren't getting their full potential because they aren't fully integrated with each other. Let's say you keep a blog for your company's website because you know that's a good way to increase your search engine optimization. Your social media marketing game is on point because you take the time to post frequently on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. But what if you could post once and be done with it? I've set up an integration that lets you post once to your official blog, and then it automatically posts to all the social media sites. Or imagine if you have a digital accounting system where you keep your books, and you want to pull in your employee hours to process the paychecks. That's another way we can improve your workflow. Finally, moving on to our last section, your tech can help you protect what's important. Your organization's priorities are unique. What do you value most? Your employees, your customers, your trade secrets, or your service mission? Every single one of those is under growing threat from cyber attacks. There's many quick, simple cybersecurity practices that you can use to bolster your defenses right now, paying great dividends and protecting your most valued people and assets. So no cybersecurity expert worth their salt is going to ask you for confidential, private, or sensitive information. If in doubt, leave it out. However, curiosity is important, as continually learning about new cyber threats and techniques to mitigate them helps us all improve. I joke that being paranoid is a job requirement for working in IT, though it's less of a joke and more of an unwritten reality. Still, we all make better decisions when we aren't paranoid, engulfed in fear. Hence my constant reminders: keep calm and carry on. Note that no systems are 100% secure all the time. Security is identifying what you value most and taking reasonable measures to protect it. Security is also fundamentally at odds with usability. Typically, you increase one at the cost of the other. According to Keeper Security's 2019 Small Businesses study, 66% of business leaders don't believe they will fall victim to a cyber attack. Almost the same number experienced cyber attacks within the previous calendar year. 60% said they didn't have a cyber attack prevention plan in place, and a quarter had no clue where to start. Alarmingly, in the US, that number rises to over 3/4 that reported a cyber attack in the previous year. Many companies lack cyber insurance, which when they end up with damages in the $200,000 price range. As a result, 6 in 10 out of the businesses that sustained cyber attacks ended up shutting their doors permanently after just half a year. Most small businesses cite a lack of budget as the reason for not acting on cybersecurity. You can make your first step by prioritizing your budget today. Companies like mine can help by meeting your needs at a lower cost. Information Security Buzz notes that half of ransomware attacks target companies with less than 100 employees. Okay, I just threw a lot of numbers at you, so let's make this a little more real. Take a look at the group's attendance today. Note the people that are on either side of you. If you're like me, you probably have several people showing up in your sidebar with, I guess, 4 people in view. So take a look at those 4 people. So we'll say, based on the US numbers, because that's relevant to us, if there's probably one business in the group, we'll just take the top one on the list, that has a cybersecurity plan ready. Great. So you're able to fend off attackers before they start. So 2 other people that are on that list, so the next 2 people down are going to be at risk for an attack in this next year. Without having heard this talk today, two of your organizations have been caught completely off guard. Those are the 2 I was saying, the next 2 in the list there. And they have damages that are more likely, more than you can afford. And a half a year later, you have to turn out the lights for good. Yikes. It's a good thing you heard, and now you know better. Keep calm and carry on. I know it's not fair for me to share these frightening statistics and immediately tell you to remain calm, but it helps us to have a level head. And we're already on track to boosting your defenses. In solving any problem, we must first know it exists and acknowledge it. You know the threat is real. You're already thinking of ways to prioritize your budget for defenses. So as proof that you're already making progress, I'll close out with a simple, effective free tool that you can use to bolster your security today. What's the most commonly used security measure anywhere?
Your password.
You've got it, Linda. You win the internet today.
Yeah, I use LastPass to store all my passwords because it's too many to remember.
Great. Yeah. So LastPass is a great example of a password manager, and I'm going to go into for different reasons. I recommend Bitwarden, but if you already use LastPass or a similar password manager, great job. Keep up the good work, Linda. I have this funny webcomic here, which you can just glance at. It basically shows how, all these requirements, like the one on the top part, looks very crazy because it is, and that's how a lot of people tell you to write your passwords. And you can see that it's super easy for a computer to guess, well, relatively anyhow, and nearly impossible for you to remember. And then the second one, you can see the correct horse battery staple. You've already memorized it. and it is much harder for a computer to guess that. So you're already Wonder Woman for the other accomplishments in your life. You don't need to waste your mind on menial things like remembering passwords, or worse, you're human like me and you can't really remember that many anyways, and just end up reusing them. So again, this is one where on my website, I'll have links later to the blog where you can check out a post that has better detail on how to get this set up. But the basic process here is just to go to bitwarden.com. And while you're doing that, you may want to think of a secure master password. You'll use that to get into your password manager. And so that'll be something kind of like the correct horse staple battery, something along those lines. Obviously not that exact one, because that one's probably going to be used by hackers trying to crack your secure vault. So come up with your own, use several words together like that. And you'll be able to use it to generate those passwords and securely store any current passwords or future passwords that you have. And you'll find that it's available on all your devices. So any computer system you use, any smartphone, mobile device, and it will autofill those in. So you don't have to worry about, hunting and pecking those keys and all of that. Remember, if it's it's a capital N or it's a lowercase, it does all the work for you and makes it super easy.
Okay, so I picked LastPass because it's available on the phone as well as the computer. Is Bitwarden, does they have a phone app as well?
They do, yes. So
I just asked that because I think that's important, no matter where you're signing in from, for whatever you're using to work on all the different spots. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So great question, Linda. So I'm just going to wrap up here, and then we'll go into the formal question time, and you can ask any more good questions like that. So in summary, what can your tech do for you? Well, it can boost your productivity. It will, by saving you time, cutting your costs, and improving your work. And it will also be able to help you protect what's important to you. And here is my contact information if you'd like to jot that down or take a screenshot and follow up with me. The oakcityit.net/blog will go right to those posts that I made with the chart from earlier about the free open source software, and it also has one about Bitwarden. And you should be able to reach that from a desktop computer or laptop computer on the main site on the homepage, oakcityit.net. But that's the talk for today. Thanks for having me.